Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Byzantio is an area control game that incorporates a lot of luck. Now, you don't normally see a lot of luck in area control games. There's something that you kind of want to have minimized. It's all about outthinking your opponent, right? And there's some really good area control games out there. They use a whole bunch of different mechanisms. Hand management, you're going to see card drafting, you're going to see use of cards. In this case, you're going to be a lot of dice rolling about how you do that. And that's something very common, right? Risk. The granddaddy of them all will be an area control game at some respect, and you'll see that here. Now, this is a very quick playing game. It's not going to overstay its welcome. 30, 45 minutes, boom, you're in, you're out, and you're done. Just kind of be aware there's going to be some luck involved. There's going to be some dice rolling. You can totally get hosed by that. You're also going to have certain areas that you're going to want to control based on the cards or tiles that you're given. And if somebody else has that area, you're in for a long day. Now, you can punt that during the game and oh, they really want this. I'm going to give that up and go after something else. That's in the game. But just know that that could be a situation that could be detrimental to any strategy or plans that you had long-term from the beginning of the game. So someone's going to have to punt at some point or you're both going to lose. Now, I think a lot of people who are looking for a simple area control game, you don't mind the dice factor, I think you're going to find something here. If you're used to playing Risk and you want something a little bit shorter, you want something that's going to be a little bit more, get that feel, maybe not that epic feel, but still that feel in a smaller amount of time, this could do it for you. For me, it's a Purge. Area control is not one of my favorite mechanisms. This game's not going to pull it out for me. The look of the game just feels like it's from a different era. It just feels like a game from the past, and I don't necessarily mean that in a good way. So, Purge for me. So here's Byzantio. I gotta admit, I don't like the front of this box at all. It's very boring to me, and I thought the game was going to be like this dry, heavier game than it ended up being. I didn't play for years because of that. We got the rules, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. We got a board, which I'll set aside for now. You're going to get some more advertisement and then different languages is what you're going to see here. Really, there's not a whole lot of components. You're going to get a paper that everybody's going to have to fill out for the game. You're going to get these little pencils in case you don't have it. And then you're going to get a bunch of just regular meeples. Nothing to see here. Great. And these will be your different areas on the board that you'll be able to control with this. And then you're going to have a board that will come out. Now, back then, you got to remember, they really loved the color brown when this game was being produced. So you're going to see lots of browns on this. You're going to have the actions up here at the top, the tracker across the bottom, and then the little areas on the board that you'll be controlling and you're putting your people out. And they work fairly well with the numbers and everything you see, but just kind of know it's kind of bland and boring. So here's the rule book, which is fairly good, actually. I did like this rule book quite a bit. You got a table of contents. This is pretty good. If anything, this is a little bit longer. The game's about 30 minutes, really, for most of our plays, but 30, 45 minutes. They're going to have a picture of the components over here set up, which is very, very easy. You're going to go through all of the actions. Now, it's important to know that you're only going to have 30 rounds. Each round is one action, and each number beside each action is how many times that you can take it. So you're limited on how many times you can take each action during the game. Each one is sufficiently explained. You got pictures associated with each one. I thought they did a really good job. How to deal with the plague when it comes out, and then the end of game scoring. I thought that was a very good rule book. The game feels more complicated than it is, but I think you need about 20 minutes. And then I would say, hey, just jump in, 15, 20 minutes, read this, start playing, and then you can refer to this as you go your first time. It's definitely a game you'll get better at the more that you play. So it's important when you start to learn this game, you kind of learn what's going to be here. So at the beginning of the game, you're going to set an objective out, and you're going to put a city in each province down here, and you're going to score points based on it. Now, this can be changed later with an action in the game, but it'll be -2 points to do so. Every time you take an action, you kind of check a box, because you only use each action so many times, and you can divvy up your score at the end of the game. So kind of know this is going on, and you have plenty of these that are included, and these little pencils here that will do the job for you. So the game itself is fairly easy to understand and to play. You want to area control certain areas of the board, and you want to get these people out in order to control it. Now, the key to the game is going to be, and I'm going to show you here in the instruction manual. I don't normally do this, but it's easy. You do a campaign, it kind of tells you what it does, and you're only going to be able to use it this many times. So in this game, you can only use this 10 times. The muster action, you can do 6 times. The advance, 4 times. So you really want to plan out how many times you're doing an action. Every time you take an action, you kind of mark it here to signify that you've done it. That way, when you get to the end, you can't do any more. So every time you do an action, you put what round. So if I did in the 4th round, I'd put a 4 there, just to signify when I did it, so you don't lose track of what you're doing. and it keeps track of how many tokens that you have. So this keeps the game from having a bunch of tokens. You just kind of write it down, and the pad works fine. And you can always make more copies of these if you need to. So let me dive back into this. So when you're scoring, these are the ones you're going to try to control. At the beginning of the game, you're going to put certain cities down here. You're going to try to control these cities, and if you do, you get this many points. In reverse, there's going to be opportunities for them to do espionage, and your opponents, you'll try to guess. Let's just put it this way. You'll try to guess what cities your opponents are going after, and if you're correct, you're going to get 5 points for doing so. This just tracks your actions, and then over here will be how many victory points you get at the end of the game. So that's the scoring. That's how this game is going to work for the most part. So you're also going to have two different types of meeples. You're going to have your regular people, your pretenders to the throne, and you're going to have your garrisons. So kind of know that you're going to have one that's a little bit bigger, which will be your garrison versus your pretender to the throne. So the first thing you do is campaign. What that's going to allow you to do is if you had a person on the board, is you can simply move them to an adjacent location. So I can move him here, or I can move him there. So just move to an adjacent location. You can go across water also, but that's how you will move them across. If he was moved here, then you can put a garrison down in that location that you moved to. Now, if the location you're moving to had an opponent's garrison in it, and I wanted to move here, I would simply remove it. And that's how campaign works. Now, if you can muster, which you can do 6 times, without moving, you can just place one of your garrisons into the location you're at. Now, you couldn't place a second one there unless somebody already had a person there. Then you could add another one into that location, simply like that. You can also negotiate if you want to. If 2 players on the board want to change the locations of their garrison, they can simply do that. If the offer is rejected, then you would roll the dice to see if it would occur or not. Another thing you can do is advance, which you can do 4 times. You can simply pick up one of your pretenders and move it anywhere on the board that you would like. You can also expel somebody's garrison from the map if you don't want it there. You simply roll a die. If it's 4 to 8, then you succeed, and this would come off the board. If you fail, then it would just stay there. So you can try to expel that if you want. And it's important to note that most of these actions, if not all of them, are printed on the board right up here, so you can easily see what's available to you on a given turn. Now, during round 6, you're going to have an earthquake. And you decide which province. So you roll the 8-sided die, and it will tell you which province will be determined by what is out here. And then if you have somebody in that area that matches the number, you would have to get rid of them off of the board. Round 12, you're going to have a famine. And then round 24, you're going to have a plague, and that'll take people off the board. At the end of the game, you're going to look at your objectives, see how you score points. You're going to get points for controlling certain areas and having things out on the board. Whoever has the most points is going to be your winner. Who should buy this game? If you know somebody's coming from Risk and they're looking for something a little bit different, maybe this little bit of theme, or this theme that's on this will be attractive to them, you're not going to mind luck. You're going to want something that plays in 30 to 45 minutes. You're going to have something that it has wild swings, maybe, and that, the dice could kind of hose you in this. But there is a pretty fun game here. What I can recommend, if you fit into that criteria, for me, it's going to be a Purge.